Hey there, it's Ben from patternprofits.net. I wanted to give you an idea how I use my focus list on the weekends to set up trade opportunities for the week ahead. What we're looking at here is Palantir, PLTR. I already have a position here. This bullish outside day on Thursday got me in. We reclaimed the pivot of 33.50 on Friday. Found resistance just above at the anchored VWAP, declining from the highs. So what we're looking for here is to see this advance even further, get through this anchored VWAP off the highs and look for a run up towards those prior highs at 45. You have a 33.50 pivot here, so targeting 20-25% makes sense. This is a position type trade, although aggressive swing traders, you could also use this as an option, into next week if you see it clear this anchored VWAP. This is number 13, I believe, on the list. So I've already done the fundamental research. Another one watching is Zoom Info. This one I had a position in a while back. I haven't been in it recently, but you'll see here that it's really firmed up nicely, had a good run. Once it cleared this little consolidation, little confluence area here of the ascending trend line, you had a nice move above the moving averages. Finally cleared that anchored VWAP from, I believe that's from the IPO. Yeah, that it was dancing around for quite a while. Cleared this 53.08 pivot. So now you kind of look for, it's come quite a long way in a short period of time. So now you look for this to maybe flag out here, pull back, retest that 53.08 pivot. If you get that, or maybe if it even takes a little longer, comes closer to the trend line, or maybe even shakes out quickly below 53.08 and then reclaims, I think there may be an opportunity setting up here. If it comes back in, you have a prior high of 64.40. So you get that dip back here. This would be a nice entry, 53, right around the 53 area to ride up here to 64.40. If it doesn't come back and pull in and continues, this kind of aggressive climb, maybe you look for it to form a handle up here. That kind of makes sense if you don't get some kind of pullback and consolidation in this area. Does kind of make sense that you'll see it pull back and maybe shake out some weak hands up here before continuing higher. So that one's also on the list. That one's number 19 on the focus list. Huya is another one. I had been in this one a while back. It's been a while though. It shook me out quite a few times. I know I've talked with quite a few others, had the same problem with this one. It just doesn't want to cooperate. But now looking good. You've got a 27.56 pivot. It did try to clear that on Friday, reversed and came back in, but it's come a long way. So this little consolidation here may help form a handle, shake some of the weak hands out. Watching here for a reclaim of that 27.56 pivot. You have a prior high here at 30.62. Much like we just talked about with Zoom Info, if it just continues up here, doesn't really consolidate any further here, may look for a handle or kind of a flag here for another opportunity, another entry. But if this goes sideways a little bit more here and then clears that 27.56 pivot, I think there's a good chance that it could just push right through this 30.62, especially if it decides to consolidate here at this area. Another one a little further down on the list is DOCU. DocuSign, this has been a beast for quite a while. Now we've got this nice little consolidation. Well, not really that little. This is going back to August. So a nice base has formed here. You have a 263 pivot here. It's found support several times at anchored VWAP off the high. We have another anchored VWAP there off the low that it found support here. So it's out of that kind of pinch area. 290.23 the prior high. So I think you look for the move first to get through 263 for a run up to this prior high at 290.23. Same as like we talked about for the others. Look for it to stall or form a handle, up here before taking that next leg higher. So I have a lot of, there's almost 50 names on the focus list this week, but only a handful that are actionable. So that's actually a good guide. When I look at that, if I go through it and there's not much that's actionable, kind of tells me that market either still needs to consolidate a little bit more, or maybe we need to look at more aggressive plays like flags and some 3 weeks tight up high and that type of stuff. But when we have these actionable ideas in the focus list, usually that bodes well for the week ahead. Amazon is another one. We talked about this on FinTwit. Number 44 on the list had this symmetrical triangle consolidation that seemed to take forever. That dated back to August. Finally came out of there, but came right back, and now testing that descending trend line from the triangle. So what we're looking for here is for this to act as support. It was resistance. Finally broke through, now came back, retested. Now we look for that area to be support, get out of this and move back towards that prior high. 35.52.25 was that prior high. You have a little bit lower, you had that confluence here of the anchored VWAP off the high. You had the nice volume shelf. Those moving averages got real tight power of 3 setup that we talk about right in here. So now we just need to look for that continuation move to get back up towards those prior highs. Same thing as we get up here, you'd again look for it to kind of stall, maybe form a flat base or a handle, and then push through that 35.52.25 pivot above. So you'd be looking for a breakout there. You want to see good volume. I don't like seeing these big red candles here, but that kind of goes hand in hand with, the earnings report. So we'll have to watch closely, see how it acts. Definitely one that we consider, leadership quality. So we want to see if it does start to make this move up towards that prior high and pivot. If the volume picks up too, that would definitely be a good sign and something we want to look for going forward. Anyway, that's kind of my routine with the focus list. I do want to talk about one more, and I will put a link to this in the comments. This is Digital Turbine, APPS apps, which had a great report, huge volume, power earnings gap here. It's in the top 10 of the focus list too. I thought maybe we'd get a little bit of a consolidation here, but it just decided to take off and take out that EPS high right away. So maybe an opportunity in here for an add-on. I own this from way back. 36, I think, is my cost basis. So we may look for this to pull back. Anchored VWAP off of the gap is something I love to use. Like I said, I'll put the link to that. I did a webinar with TrendSpider on how I trade these. So I'll put a link to that in the comment section. And that'll give you an idea of how, if this pulls back while this anchored VWAP is rising, it may give an opportunity for a long entry. Well, I hope you guys, it's Super Bowl Sunday. Enjoy the game. I hope you guys have a great trade-in week. And I'll be back with a couple more of these videos on how I use the power scan, velocity scan. We'll go over those very similar to like I did with this one.